Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another what I hope to be exciting talk today. I am a discussion, right? I am Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and my role here, if you remember, is to help people become the boss of their thoughts, to become the boss of their thoughts, and then the trickle down from that is helping people to see their own value, and by doing that, we live more authentic lives, our very best lives. And so today's discussion is going to be on being you. You got to be you, and how to be you, your authentic self, your true self, doesn't take any effort. It doesn't take any effort. There's a good chance I'm going to have to go inside in a second because our daughter is trying to sand a desk that she bought at a yard sale yesterday for $15. She's doing a heck of a job. It's just very loud. So anyway, being you, being your true authentic self, does not take any effort. And if it does take effort, you're not being you. And that brought me back to St. Mike's as a first or second year, when I was about 19 years old. We got to go in because she's going to make noise. When I was about 19 years old on a leap retreat at St. Mike's. That was back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth and glaciers were shifting and all that sort of thing. But anyway, so that's a retreat, which is just food for the soul. So it's students doing talks, like a peace talk, a self-awareness talk, different talks. And so Steve, then, that is his first name. I will leave his last name out for privacy reasons only. This is totally positive. He did a talk on self-awareness at 19-ish. Wow, and it was just so incredible. I remember saying, kind of hanging on to him afterwards, just asking him more questions and talking with him. And though memory being what it is, I don't remember everything what I said, but I got the basic gist and I know what he said. So I must have said something to the effect of, teenagers struggling with the whole self-awareness thing, right? Just getting started. And I must have said something about, what about this, what about that? That's effort, this is effort, that's effort, to try to do this, try to do that, try to be you. And he said, no, that's all backwards. That's all backwards, because if it's taking an ounce of effort to be yourself, you're not being yourself. You're not being yourself. And we're talking about a total wraparound of the self too, because just like I say to my kids when they were younger, even as young adults, and also my students, we've all got shining star parts, right? And we've got messy parts. And I'm a huge accountability person, so I'm not about dusting the messy under the rug at all. It's important to acknowledge our messy parts, absolutely, and to just grow with that. However, we want to acknowledge them and then shift back into the shiny star parts. That's where we really want to reside. And being our true, authentic self is kind of redundant. Being our authentic self means that we wrap around all of it, that we love and accept ourselves, all of it, the messy parts and the shiny star parts, even though we're residing in the shiny star parts. And so part of what got me going on this talk was, or this idea for this discussion was, I read an article in Psychology Today this morning, and I write for Psychology Today too. It's a wonderful magazine. I really enjoy writing for them. I really enjoy reading the articles. And I just don't agree with the one I read this morning. And maybe it's me not interpreting it how the author meant. Before I forget to say his name, Rob Henderson, is very well written. So maybe it's on my end, I don't know, but I really don't agree. So the title is The Person You Want Others to Believe You Are. The true self is the person you want others to believe you are. And I don't know, I read the whole thing a couple times here. And to me, that involves, he talks about reputation and when that's in sync with what you want your reputation to be and kind of thing. And that, to me, involves external approval, which is, like the number one for ego. That ego is really dependent and searches out and thrives on, like catnip, for a cat, external approval. And the authentic self doesn't need anybody's external approval. The authentic self doesn't need to be fixed. Even with the messy parts, we are enough as we are. Doesn't mean don't work on stuff, right? We are enough in our imperfection. We are enough. And so this article just kind of, it's almost like it might be rhetorical, because it seems like he's talking more about self-image, which is, of course, how we see ourselves and sometimes how we want others to see us. There might be some overlap there. Again, though the authentic self isn't image based. We're doing a lot of listening to the inner voice. We're all divine creatures, right? Walking around in skin. We're all walking around in skin, wearing different outfits. That's it. We're all divine creatures, and so in that sense, that authentic voice needs to be listened to, just like we carve out time. We were saying this last week, anyway. When we're talking about passion and calling, it takes listening, really listening mindfully in a quiet space, just like we would carve out time for somebody close to us. Asking them, "Are you happy? Are you in the groove? Are you doing your thing? Or do you have a spark? What are you excited about?" What we need to do that with ourselves, or we're going to remain on autopilot. And here's the thing. It's very easy for the ego to nudge, to search, to look for that approval constantly, to compulsively get our self-esteem from people pleasing and caretaking. We're not saying don't be a good person and caretake, very important. We're talking about when we become a human doing, and that's fueling us. That's ego-driven, codependent behavior. It's not authentic. And so to really kind of have a talk with ourselves and keep on top of it, because we don't do this, it's very easy to slide into automatic pilot. Again, people pleasing and looking for this approval, rescuing, blah 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 blah, and really, really, really listening to that. And again, not saying don't be a good person. Of course, it's part of being a good person. It's when we're getting our self-esteem fed by doing things, because we're enough as a human being. And the rest of that is very codependent behavior. And so this seems like, and then he kind of slides into pro-social, what I think he's talking about, pro-social behavior. And he talks about when we feel in sync, we feel authentic, when we're kind of conforming with society's values kind of thing. And of course that feels good. We like to feel that's our basic sense of belonging and doing something that's right and good. Sure, there's even a dopamine fix with that. If we hold the door open for someone, if maybe she's out, well, you can't see my hands, but I did like a 9-month pregnant hand. She's out to here pregnant, or it's an older person, or it's just somebody who's young and healthy, and we hold the door open. Yeah, there's a dopamine fix, and maybe that is, I agree with him, that maybe that's, the universe's way of keeping us, doing good things for people, absolutely. But to me, that's pro-social behavior, which of course, the authentic self is going to engage in anyway, is going to engage in anyway, because you're in the groove, you find your authentic swing, when you're really listening to who you are. And then he gets to the part that I do agree with. I think I just have to look at this right now. Okay, Eli Finkel talks about the Michelangelo effect, and basically how David was already in the stone before it was sculpted. I love that. It's so metaphorical for what we're talking about, because again, divine creatures trying to figure out our place and our authentic swing, which I borrowed from Legend of Bagger Vance. Very good movie. I think it's with Matt Damon. Anyway, really good. So we're trying to find our authentic swing. So the David already being in there, I love that. And then chiseling away and, figuring out who we are is just so awesome. So, okay, so again, we're enough as we are. If we're putting effort into being ourselves, we're not being ourselves. I'm thinking of, okay, here's one. Think of Chaz Bono, son of Sonny and Cher, trans male, way back, I want to say I was like in my early 30s or something. That was a long time ago. Let's say at least 20 years ago anyway. When he came out that he was a trans male, I can't even imagine how hard it was to keep that charade up, before he came out, because it was just so hard. And not that it's easy in 2021. Please hear the disclaimer. I'm just thinking 20 years ago, wow, I mean, people use the word transvestite still, which is just not even, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that's on the extreme end of not being able to do your authentic swing, right, and be your true self. And there are lots of people in that place, I'm sure. And also I'm thinking of just he talks about when we sort of, I don't know if he uses the word conform, but let's say go along with society's values on a less intense level. I think of my best friend from growing up. She's amazing. She's kind and good and very extremely self-aware. She's even a vegan. She doesn't really do anything except she's just a kind spirit and very self-aware. And she's inked up from here down. Inked up. She's like just about a little taller than me, not much. Inked up, little sugar skulls on her calf. And that may not go along, especially in certain parts of the country, maybe even less acceptable. I don't know. But she's doing her thing. She is so doing her thing. And when we do our thing, there's a fly in it. When we do our thing, we're also happier. It's not just happy, it's joy. It's inner, authentic joy. And so that kind of debunks another part of Rob's article here. I don't mean anything by it. I might not be interpreting it properly. It just seems like it's about staying in sync with your reputation. The authenticity equating pro-social behavior. I just don't really agree with any of that. I think it's really, I want to say the opposite, because again, the pro-social behavior thing enhances things, because when we're authentic, we are naturally inclined to do good things for people. It's just how it is. The thing is, the authentic self is the authentic self, and she patiently waits, or he or they patiently waits in the back seat, and while the ego's driving, because the authentic self is just this very reverent, respectful. It's us. It's our innermost self. The divine creature just kind of waiting to be invited back into the front seat. While the ego's jabbering away, searching out approval, people pleasing, getting all those, you're looking for kudos, looking for all this stuff. When the authentic self doesn't have a need. It's not that it doesn't want it doesn't need it. It doesn't mean we shoo away kudos and people approving and things. Of course not. That all feels good. We just don't need it. There's a big difference, because why? We feel whole and complete as we are. We feel whole and complete. And let me tell you, this is such a charge. If you're on your way to this, if you're watching this video, you're clearly looking for it, which is such a positive. It means you're ready. It means whatever you're doing in your life right now, on some level, isn't working for you. And rather than beat yourself up for whatever it is that's not working for you, same thing I say to my students actually, please look at this as a gigantic positive, because this means you are on it, like the light switch is on. Whatever it is isn't working for me, and I want more. I want more. And that is fantastic. Take that as a huge positive. Do a little pat on the back. Yay, go me. And then we're probably going to continue this because of the shame piece that's involved. I've also done a TED Talk on this a while ago. I think it's called No Need to Fix Me, I'm Not Broken. There you go. And another thing we know, we are being authentic is when we get that. We get that even with the messy parts. I don't need to be fixed. Thank you very much for asking. I don't need to be fixed. Why? Because I'm not broken. We are perfect in our imperfection, and perfect is not a word I've even allowed in this house because it's so self-abusive. In this context, it works, because we are divine beings. So we are perfect in our imperfection. We are okay, we are enough as we are. That's it. We are enough as we are. And it might take some saying that once a day, every day, to really help drive that home. I'm also going to do another one on resisting happiness, which will also touch on this stuff, okay? So if it's taking effort to be yourself, you're not being you. That's it. And just remember, the authentic self doesn't need fixing. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from my brand new sexy kitchen. Have an authentic day.